Hey, hello, and how are you? Welcome back to Leading the Charge, the podcast. I'm Dom Tibbetts alongside my co-host, everybody's favorite unofficial family member, Brother Bill, the Buffalo Bills, 27-24 winners in the AFC wildcard round over the Jacksonville Jaguars. It was nerve-wracking. It was a thriller. I'm sure a lot of people are still catching their breath this morning on Victory Monday if you're a Bills fan listening to this one. But hey, as Josh Allen said earlier in the week, make one more play, score one more point than your opponent. That is the name of the game. It's kind of like March Madness, Bill. Survive in advance. The Bills did that, and we now know they are playing Saturday against the Denver Broncos in the AFC Divisional round. We don't know a time or a network TV, whichever that may be yet, but we do know where they're playing next. Back to this game yesterday. You're watching it. Have you caught your breath yet?
That was exciting. I think that was the most all-around good offensive game we've seen maybe all year, honestly. Like, I know we've had like spurts, but like that just felt like it wasn't even like freak big plays or hook and ladders. It was like dudes were open downfield a little bit. We were, hitting the middle of the field. Felt like very 2021-ish Josh Allen vibes where he was just doing his thing. Obviously, like their run defense stifled James, which was kind of the fear going in because that was a really good run defense. But Josh put on the cape, went off. The defense played good. Brandon Cooks, very good. Just a good game. It felt fun to watch.
The run, you mentioned the run defense, run offense, because that was the big matchup really inside this matchup the entire week. And like credit to the Jacksonville defense. That's a very good team. I can see, Bill, why so many people, so many other like NFL analysts that work for these big networks were like, hey, the winner of this game could very easily go make a run for the Super Bowl. The Jags are a good team. And that was one of the hardest fought victories I've ever seen the Bills ever have to get under McDermott and with Allen as quarterback. But they did it somehow, and they had to lean on the pass game. And Josh quietly almost threw for 300. I'm looking at the box score now, 273 and a touchdown. He had 2 total touchdowns. Josh Allen, like you said, had to put the cape on. But I almost got to the point of this game, Bill. You were watching him get banged up. I don't know who was going to put the cape on for him. I think he was going to have to literally ask Connor McGovern to throw a cape on for him. There's this video of this old, I think it was like a Marshall quarterback. Somebody like
Byron Leftwich. Was it when they were picking him up and carrying him to the
So that's so it's old Byron Leftwich video where they're like he's throwing the ball down the field, making a play, and the linemen are carrying him down.
He's doing like one-step drops because he couldn't even take steps backwards. Yeah.
That's what I almost thought. That's what the Bills are going to have to do. But Allen's a warrior. He came in obviously with that foot injury, had to go through concussion protocol, but he was cleared and he's fine. But then he bangs his finger on that one pass on I think Osiris's helmet, and then little bit of kind of controversy in the way he twisted his knee there on that sneak because he crossed the plane. It should have been blown dead, but it wasn't. And then the whole pile kind of gets, mobbed up, and then he twists his knee in a really awkward way, hyperextension it looked like. So that in of itself was I'm a little skeptical to that, along with the field goal, which we'll get into here in a second. But Josh's performance was A1 when it needed to be. I really felt like, Bill, and maybe you had the same sense too, if it got down to Josh Allen versus Trevor Lawrence, like who is going to make the play last, I know it's going to be easy for us to say because we're a podcast talks about the Bills, but you really saw Josh kind of, I think all that experience and the seniority in the playoffs really came to fruition. And then the way Trevor Lawrence, unfortunately, ended the game kind of I guess, prove that in a sense.
Yeah. And it's kind of like the pattern of our playoffs. And that's why it's funny as a Bills fan when you see like the national media talking heads like go on their like anti-Josh rants or whatever they're saying and act as if his like playoff resume isn't what it is, where like he doesn't make mistakes. He is constantly doing what he's got to do. And our defense has kind of, let him down in the past handful of seasons, or drop passes with Diggs and Kincaid last year, missed field goal. Like he's always done his job in the playoffs. And that was just like you said, that was on display yesterday where he's completed 80+% of his passes. Just doesn't make mistakes. He just does exactly what he has to do. And yeah, when that last, like you said, when it comes down to Trevor Lawrence or Josh Allen, like I think it's a no-brainer, Josh Allen every time. But on the flip side, I cannot lie and say like I wasn't terrified that it was just going to be the same old story we always see where Josh gets the touchdown with a minute left and who knows what could happen when the defense takes the field, because that's usually been our kryptonite every playoff. But Trey White turned back the clock yesterday, dude. He was all game unbelievable, and then that play was just so sick, dude. I'm so happy for him. Even like to see his reaction after he like tips the ball and they pick it, and he's just like going pumping his fist. Like he had such a good game yesterday.
Last week, Trey won. So every year, the Bills like beat reporters and media, we give out what's called the Kent Hall Stand-Up Guy Award. And for a little background for those who don't know, so Kent Hall was, I believe, a center and offensive lineman back when the Bills, way back, kind of in the days of when things were struggling a little bit in the 80s. But he was always somebody who took the time to talk with media and gave us a very fair relationship, which, sometimes is, not always easy in the NFL. It's not always easy in professional sports. We always like to award somebody who understands the job we have to do, because we also understand the job. At least I feel like most of us understand what it means to be an NFL player, but we also have jobs to do. So that award this year went to Tre'Davious White. And Trey, 2 years ago, coming off the injury, was very unreceptive to media. Before he went to Baltimore in that final season here, prior to his injury against Miami, he just would not want to talk to reporters. He shied away from it. And I didn't cover the team back in 2017, but and you know this as well as I do, like Trey was so beloved and he was just this energetic, positive guy, a leader in this locker room. So when he first came here in 2017, there's a lot of positive reception around covering him and who he was. So it was weird to see him go into that. But this year, what a total 180 he's been with us. But I also think that's just because, we've said this before, Bill, but Trey just plays his best here because he feels the most comfortable here. This is home for him. It is, I think, a credit to what McDermott has built inside the locker room as a guy like Trey. You are literally, like you said, I think turning back the clock's the best phrase, because you're literally getting him to play in shades, is what I think I called it yesterday when I was on TV. Shades of like vintage 2019 Trey. I'm not saying he's all the way back making these incredible interceptions and these plays where you're like, oh my God, game defining plays, but he's doing it in spurts, and he's showing shades of that, because that tip pass yesterday to Cole Bishop was an all Trey play. Cole said it after the game too. He's like, I was just in the perfect place, right time, right spot. Ball fell into my hands, game over. So it's going to be important for Trey White to keep having these kind of games. And I think he's on the road to doing that. It's been refreshing I'll personally say from the media side to see someone like Trey, who's been so good to us, get rewarded. I like seeing that. And I know for Bills fans out there, like, they love Trey. So it's awesome to see. He's been just, like you said, turning back the clock. It's fun to see.
Yeah, I have one personal experience with Trey White. It was when he was just drafted, and I was going to St. John Fisher to cut some hair for a few players. And I was in the gym shooting like jump shots, waiting for some people to come that I was going to cut. And he was just walking by, and we ended up playing like a game of like pig against each other. And like, I think I'm only like a half a year older than him. So we're like the same age. And, dude, he was so not like, it was just, I was like, you're Trey White, right? Like, cause I didn't really know, you know what I mean? I don't watch college ball. I know he just got drafted like a few months earlier. So nice, dude. We played like a game of pig. We were just shooting the ball. He was so awesome. So that's like the one thing I have personally of like him. And it was just like, so like he acted just as like he was nobody, you know what I mean? When I was like, you're Trey White, right? Like the first round draft pick. And he was like, yeah, nice to meet you. Like, what's your name? And like, just like started talking a little bit. It was really cool.
Do you have any, do you have pictures or videos in that moment
of me and Trey? No, I don't. I have like a few Snapchat videos of like when I cut. That was the year after Tyrod left, though. So I have one from the year before when I cut Tyrod, and then I became friends with. I don't know if you would know him. His name was Walt Powell. He was like a like fifth receiver on the roster, maybe. Okay. He was on the team for maybe 2-3 seasons. Super nice guy, and that's kind of who I got in with. So like every offseason, he would hit me up when they're in Rochester and like bring me back to camp, and like super nice guy.
Oh yeah.
So I think I might have like a video from that, like when I cut his hair, because he was the one who would always like plug me in. But I don't have anything from me and Trey playing basketball. We were just like shooting the ball. It was really cool.
That's awesome. I mean, like, but also like look at the full circle moment for Trey, right? Like he was with Sean when they broke this drought back in 17. They went back to the place where they lost the Jaguars at that time. But I go back to think of like the Bills had to crush that narrative of like the 17-year playoff drought back then, and they did that. And I remember sitting watching that and being like, well, you know what? I don't think most Bills fans are going to be too upset. They're just happy, like, hey, we're there. We've done it. The whole 17-year playoff drought's over with. But then you got into this year where the expectations are obviously Super Bowl or bust, and you're going to a place where you haven't won a road playoff game since 1992. How cool is that? Trey White is part of that full circle moment where two big narratives that have kind of like clouded this organization were shattered with him there. And he was playing some of his best football because of that too. So again, it's why Trey is so beloved, is because he just loves this place. He loves this organization, loves the city. And then in return, he comes up and produces like that. Full circle moment there too. But how about also the guy, Bill, that caught the interception? I know Cole just right place, right time there too, but he had a really good game. And when Poyer went out, the Jaguars really started targeting Jordan Hancock, and they went after the rookie. And Jordan, to no discredit of his own, but he was getting cooked. Parker Washington was having his day in the deep zone coverage, and Hancock was playing a lot of soft coverage. I was starting to get really nervous because I'm like, if I'm Liam Cohen, I am watching. The Bears did this the other night was it the Packers did this the other night. There was I forget his name, but there was a Bears cornerback that was a little banged up. So Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur, they were just literally dialing up balls to wherever he was on the field. And I felt like that's what Liam Cohen was about to do, was going to go target Jordan Hancock. But Cole Bishop, kind of the steady rock with Poyer being out, we went to, so many talking points this summer. And even when we started doing this podcast, Bill, like, what was Cole Bishop? What was his expectations? You want to talk about a guy who has truly made some big plays? I think about like the game-stealing interception against the Saints, and then obviously being at the right place at the right time to make this one. Cole Bishop deserves some flowers too, because what a nice turnaround it's been. And he is starting to emerge as like, hey, this guy might have shades of like that Micah Jordan. He might be one of the two pieces to be the next Micah and Jordan in that Bills secondary.
Yeah, dude. Cole Bishop's been awesome. Definitely a little nervous about the whole Poyer situation. I haven't really seen much about that injury either.
Yeah, it's a hamstring, so it's it's a short week. The injury report first one will come out tomorrow. Just for those who are wondering, it's we'll have to see. Everybody, as Dion said yesterday, everybody's banged up and everybody has to play through injuries. But there are some injuries you just can't play through, because if you can't be 100%, you're doing your team a disservice. So we shall see. But continue.
Yeah, and Poyer is going to be the type of guy who's like trying to grit it out. I've seen him do it with like terrible injuries, but like that's tough, especially as like an older dude who's maybe not the most athletic as he once was, and to have like a hamstring issues, tough. But yeah, Cole Bishop's been awesome. Like you feel really confident with him back there, with Trey White playing some of his really good ball, and obviously Benford's a beast. Hopefully, I don't know if Hairston's injury is like longer term. Do you know if is he like week to week? Is that like his label?
Yeah, he's week to week, so he'll probably come in this week questionable to start, if anything. But again, the Bills are on short rest, so and same with Terrell Bernard, who was considered week to week when he first hurt his elbow in Houston. So it's going to be kind of a wait and see game here. I don't know what Harrison's status will be Saturday. If I had to guess, it's an ankle. It's tough. It's going to be so close. TB feels like he's been a lot closer. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw TB get back into the mix this week, but also Shaq Thompson's looked really good. He was battling that neck injury though. Shaq had a big interception yesterday, but yeah, so it's, there are some question marks. There are definitely some unsurety there, but it's good to have Cole.
What do you see about, like a Darnell Savage? Is that his name? Darnell? Yeah. Right.
Darnell Savage. Yep.
So like we picked him up. He was getting time on the Commanders, I'm pretty sure, before we got him. Like he requested a release. It wasn't like, if I remember reading right.
I can't remember if he was playing if he was getting time, but I mean, obviously he's a big name, probably in the later half of his career there too. a pull in case of emergency, I always feel like Dane Jackson is probably their first choice when they need that cornerback to pull in case of emergency. But why not get Darnell Savage in the mix? I mean, there's also another guy that begins with letter D, cornerback, that should be on the Buffalo Bills right now, but instead he was on the Eagles sideline named Darius Slay. So not getting any help from him, that's a whole weird situation in of itself, is this guy's on the Bills, but yet he's watching a game on the Eagles sideline. How is that allowed? Nonetheless,
I saw some people be like, cut him as soon as the season's over, and like the pettiness in me is like, no, you do exactly what we did to Anquan Bolden, where like you hold on to his rights. I think if someone retires and you have his rights, it lasts like another like calendar season.
Yes. Yeah.
So you forced him to actually retire now. Like,
yep, hold it. I hope that, and I think Bean will. I think Bean is absolutely not going to get played because they had to give up Jamarcus Ingram, and Jamarcus is he's kind of like that Dane Jackson piece where it's like you kind of know it's a mid-floor, like higher or mid-ceiling, higher floor, just because you kind of know what you're getting with him. But the Darius Slay situation is it's befuddling. It's crazy. And I hope Bean is petty with it because I think he deserves to be, and I think he should be. When it comes to Darnell Savage, sure, they could get him back in the rotation there too. I don't see why not at this point. I
just know he's more of a safety. So I'm like trying to think like if Poyer's not going and Hancock is looking the way he looked, like, I mean, Cam Lewis can play some safety. He's always done that for us too. So I guess that would
sure. And you also and I don't know if I saw this correct in the TV broadcast. They also have Sam Franklin in there too, which in emergency situations they can throw Sam Franklin back there at safety as well. He's more of a special teamer and a really good special team prowess guy, but we shall see there. But I mean, when the injury report gets released tomorrow, Bill, it's going to literally be maybe 2 pages. It's going to be the longest injury report we have ever seen out of this organization. And then the way the Broncos injury report was in week 18, prior to getting their week, I think they had 5 guys that were on, so it's not a great situation to be on a short week, but that's just the name of the game. Like that's the road that the Bills have paid for themselves, knowing they're going to have to go on the road for 3 straight games to get you a shot to play the Super Bowl. And knowing you're the 6th seed, you're inevitably probably lined up to play the number 1 seed in the Denver Broncos. Before we get too far ahead, I will say, and we can talk about this matchup a little bit more moving on, but just a quick thought on the Broncos, Bill. I feel way better about the Bills matchup against the Broncos. I don't like the injuries. That concerns me for sure. But I like the Bills matchup against the Broncos way more than I like the Bills matchup against the Jaguars. The fact the Bills have gotten by the Jaguars, I think, means that this playoff window is so wide open for them to go get it done finally.
I felt like the Jags were the most like all around good team in the play on the AFC side. So I agree that like that was, and I don't want it to be like one of these things now where like someone's going to clip us and like be like a Broncos fan and hopefully we're not like looking too far ahead and getting ahead of ourselves. But I do feel like the Jags were like all around. They were the hottest team. They were, top 5 defense, top 5 offense. Trevor Lawrence has been on fire. Rushing attack's been good. Defense has been unreal. So I feel like, honestly, if you looked at those rosters, they had the edge on us almost in everything besides quarterback. Like, truly, I don't know if that – maybe there's something else in there. Like, I don't think, like, Liam Cohn – obviously, it's his first year, so, like, give props to McDermott because he's been here and done that and won playoff games. But, like, as a play caller on offense, I think he's shown he's top tier like Liam Cohn. So
for sure,
I don't think that's crazy to have them close to even, but everything else, they cleared us besides Josh, and Josh did what Josh can do. And that's really what it comes down to in the playoffs right now. It's just like, can Josh and James and these veterans on defense can that be enough? And I do think it can be. It's not the easiest, but I think we can keep going. And now that we got past the Jags, I feel really optimistic.
So Thad Brown tweeted this morning, Thad Brown, sports director over at WROC in Rochester, says the Broncos stats on D are ridiculous. They're top 3 to 5 in virtually everything, all the major statistical categories. But when they faced the top 3 rushing offenses this season, they've given up 143 yards, 119 yards, and 108 yards. When they've faced the top 3 passing offensive, they've given up 306 yards, 265 yards, 231 yards. When they've played the top 3 scoring offenses, they've given up 34 points, 29 points, and 24 points. There is a recipe. And I'm like, this is no disrespect to the Broncos. Their defense is very good. It's another legit defense that is top tier and will give the Bills all they can handle and more. But it also comes down to, again, that's like why I feel better is because I feel better about Josh Allen versus Bo Nix when it comes down to it. The same way you saw the Jaguars game unfold when the game was on the line, the better quarterback made more plays when it mattered the most. So that's kind of my early thought as to why I believe that, but more on that in a second. Bill, I do want to get back to the Jaguars game because there's a couple things I want to bring up from your perspective, what you were what you were watching with this one. Let's start right at halftime. Did you know, Bill, that you can technically kick a field goal after you spike a ball and down it with 0 seconds remaining on the play clock? Did you know that the referees, should they just want it for the vibes, choose to put an extra second on the clock and let the other team and let a team kick a field goal? I didn't know that you could reverse time. Like, I didn't know that Dr. Strange was the head referee in yesterday's game and reverse time to allow the Jaguars to kick a field goal. But man, as my good, I'm going to shout out my buddy Pat, who I play basketball with a couple times a week in our big B-ball group here. As my buddy Pat Quas says, ball don't lie.
Yeah,
that did not lie, Bill. And boy, did that make out to be the difference there too. I still don't understand what that was yesterday. Do you have any idea as to what we saw there at the end of halftime?
I was pretty perplexed. I was just like, what? But I was also like, this is classic Bill. Like, this just would happen to us. Right. And doesn't take me by surprise anymore. I was kind of just laughing psychotically, like to myself on the couch, just like, of course, this is insane that they got. And honestly, I could be wrong, but I didn't see. Did a ref touch the ball? Because from the camera view of the broadcast at my house, like I never saw a ref over. Maybe I missed it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being
I'm gonna go away for a second because I have like the highlights pulled up on my editing computer. So
for some reason, I was just like, I don't even see a ref. Like I remember a couple years ago when Dak Prescott got sacked by the referee because he was coming in so hot trying to touch the ball.
I'm trying to base it off the broadcast view too. I don't see any. So now, for those at home who are wondering what I'm doing, I'm looking at the highlights on my editing software right now on my laptop. From the broadcast view, I do not see a single referee anywhere near the ball. I see just the lineman, Joey Bosa's offside. So unless we missed that and a ref was down there and they down the ball.
I was turning to all my friends. I'm like, dude, did a ref touch this ball? Because I remember Dak Prescott getting sacked to the ground by a referee hauling ass down the field trying to touch the ball.
Yeah.
And these dudes just like, yeah. I mean, it didn't matter at the end of the day because ball don't lie. But it was just a classic Bills. Like, I was like, I don't think a ref touched it. Maybe they did. Who knows? But how did you even get down there? It was like 6 seconds. Like,
I don't.
That made no sense.
It's and I forgot who is Gene. I think it's Gene Sterritt. I forgot who the ref analyst for CBS was. Like they were all like, no, this is done. Like, go to halftime, the clock's at 0, whatever. And then they're like, oh, by the way, we found a second because Joey Bosa was offside. So there's the offside call there too, which was just it's crazy. I don't know. Cause they're also like, look at the way the center moves. That's when the clocks really have stopped. I'm like, it doesn't stop when Trevor spikes the ball to down it. What do you mean? Right. And then they're like, well, no, because Joey Bosa was offside, so they get the play. I don't know how the offsides counts if the play clock was at 0. It made no sense to me. It didn't matter, right? I think that'd be a much bigger talking point if things were reversed and we're talking about a Bills loss or God forbid anything else, right? But it was just a weird situation that I still have no answers to. Sean McDermott was asked about it after the game, and he was just, kind of very straightforward. I was just told what we had to do. We went to halftime, and he missed it. I think Sean might have had more words to say if that play ended up being something that needed to be done, but there it is. And then, for what it's worth, Cam Little can literally hit it from, like, he can make a field goal from Rochester in Orchard Park, so the fact that the Bills defense, it goes back to what you were saying like a few minutes ago, Bill. The fact the Bills defense didn't allow him to get back on the field to potentially tie this game is, after all the times you've seen the Bills defense crumble in those late game moments and give up the big drive or big play or the big touchdown, big score, whatever it is. Good credit to Sean McDermott's defense. Liam Cohen after the game even said too, was when it came to like getting the passing offense going, he said Sean McDermott and that pass defense were throwing a lot of pre-snap and post-snap coverages and changing it up where they just never felt like they could get in a rhythm. And one thing I was reading and listening to is one of the analysts from the networks was saying that when Trevor, a lot of times you see the quarterback put their hands over their ear holes and their helmets so they can hear the calls. Trevor Lawrence is still relying a lot on what he's seeing from his coordinators and the guys watching him above pre-snap. I think the Bills exposed that a little bit, and I think the Bills were able to do their best with that, and it definitely showed that it confused Trevor Lawrence. 2 interceptions on the day for him. So credit to Sean McDermott and his defense. I also
and credit to Sean McDermott getting a successful challenge. You don't see that. You don't see
that was a big challenge.
Any day usually
on the broadcast view. So because I'm here in the sports office watching it, and I know he had to wait till like it started going to drop it, but it wasn't showing like him with the flag in the hand. I'm like, there's no way. Is Sean McDermott not going to throw a challenge flag here? I was like, this guy is going to get he's going to lose his job if he can't throw this challenge. And then all of a sudden I saw it with the red flag in his hand. I was like, okay, there it is. Sean McDermott came to his senses or just, was waiting for the opportunity to do it, drop the challenge flag. Good call there too. What did you think late in the game, Bill? Because obviously you don't want to give the Jaguars that much time. And McDermott was asked about this too, is that situation where you're on the goal line, a tush push is probably getting you in, and there's a good chance, which the Jaguars did, they're just going to kind of let Josh get in and score so they can get the ball back and try to move down the field. Do you agree with the way McDermott and them handled it, where they just said, kind of just said, screw it, let's go score and put this game back on our defense? Or would you have maybe like ran a knee or like done something to get, some more time off the clock, knowing Jacksonville doesn't have any timeouts?
I think I would have wasted one play to like run down the clock. Maybe not like I wouldn't try to like run it down to like one play and you have a chance. Like I would have probably done like 30 seconds and then like dialed up because we had 2 timeouts still.
Yeah, Bills had 2, Jaguars had 0 timeouts.
So I probably would have tried to like milk it pretty down and just like take a couple shots at the end zone. But it worked out, and he trusted the defense, and the defense was playing good all game, really, besides a few things. But I thought they overall had a good game, so I'm with it. I wasn't insanely mad, but I probably would have tried to waste the clock.
No, it made Bills fans nervous, and I was a little nervous too, just sitting there watching. Like, I don't know how this is going to play out. You've asked, so it's like we said, you've asked this defense to do this in so many other situations, so many other big critical games, and it hasn't gone in the Bills' way many times, but that way it did. So hindsight's always 20/20. It was the right decision, and now standing there, everybody's like, yeah, it was a good call. I will say, hand up, I was somebody who said, just go score. Because I feared that if you took a playback, then you take the tush push out, which was killing Jacksonville. They nearly scored on one from 9 yards out before on a tush push. So my fear was if you take that away, because you move back to like the 1 or the 2 yard line, even you're taking the ability to get that tush push away. You kind of know Jacksonville kind of has an understanding of what's going on there too. If God forbid it has to go to the air, you don't know if an interception is going to happen, if James Cook if there's going to be a fumble. There's so many other outliers in that situation where I will say I was just like, just go score, get the lead, try to hold. I said you basically have to hold Jacksonville to be below the 50 because Cam Little can hit from midfield, but like you can just do your best. And I thought the kickoff from Wisnowski was really great. Javon Sullivan made a really nice tackle to pin them deep in coverage. And then, like I said, it didn't matter. Trevor Lawrence to pass from Trey White into the hands of Cole Bishop. So
our tush push was good from about 12 yards out yesterday.
It was a good.
Yeah,
I would say
you could have backed up a little bit and still been able to tush push it in.
Do you want to talk? You want to talk about? That's a good point too, I guess. But there's just many other things I got thinking of like if they choose. Because here's the thing, Bill. How many times have we seen where like very clearly the choice is go tush push, get the ball to Josh Allen and go, and then Joe Brady's like, 4th and 1, orbit motion to Dawson Knox.
Yeah, right.
How many times have we seen stuff like that this season? So you just don't know. Like, you don't know if that was going to be the right play call. Like, yeah, they get touch push from 3 yards out, and I think they're fine. But Joe Brady might have dialed up, hey, let's just throw a quick fake to Keon Coleman, see what happens here.
Dialed up a jet sweep to Latu.
Yeah, Kaleki Latu. Yeah. A little something in there, a little spice up. He wasn't even active. Dude, active. Ty Johnson getting, I know it was a call, it was a phantom call on, Tyrell Shavers, who they meant to call it on. I didn't expect my tweet to blow up as much as it did. I jokingly tweeted that Ty Johnson was the first player in NFL history to get a penalty called from being inactive, which, by the way, folks, was a joke. It's not true. It's happened plenty of times before, but that tweet blew up for no reason because people really thought that was true. So my bad, I guess. It was just a joke, but still, that was very, very, very funny moment early on that I had a good laugh. And then it quickly subsided because I knew this game was going to kind of go back and forth here. So, yeah, Bills find a way. They get it done. 27-24. They are moving on. Play the Denver Broncos. We're talking about them a little bit here too, Bill. The other thing I want to talk about with the Broncos when it comes to them, you look at their offense. I know we just got done talking about how, Josh Allen, better quarterback than Bo Nix. And I think that is true. This is another matchup, though, where that offense has better weapons in the receiving game. I would James Cook, obviously the way better running back than RJ Harvey in this situation, but you have Troy Franklin and Cortland Sutton alone that are two very good wideouts that can get open and can make explosive plays. So my thought is that Benford probably gets a lot of Cortland Sutton, and then you're going to have to lean on Trey again to come up and make big plays there too. Is there anything else, just first glance, when you kind of knew playing Denver, just something that was concerning you that we haven't touched on yet, or something that you think might give the Bills a little bit of trouble?
I know like Bo Nix is mobile, so I don't know if that's going to like present harder threat to us because like he can take off. He is athletic. But like, yeah, their run game as a whole isn't great. RJ Harvey, their defense is really good. I know that's like the two things I kind of know is that their offense is iffy and their defense is great. So
when it comes down to it, Josh Allen over Bo Nix, the rest take care of itself. If history repeats itself like it did yesterday, I think the Bills will be just fine here. So, and again, we know that game is Saturday. We do not know the time. We do not know the TV network. If you are listening to this podcast is through Channel 7 here at WKBW. Please keep your fingers crossed that it's on ABC because I'd really like to go to this game. And I don't know if I get to if it's not on our channel. So everybody keep your fingers crossed that by the time you're listening to this or after the Monday night game, you'll see the game on 7. That would be very, very sweet. I'm trying to just look through Denver's roster real quick too. I mean, they just got, and like their defense just has, I mean, I remember last year, Bill, what a different scenario both of these teams were in. Like the Broncos were ascending and the Bills were the 2 seed in this. And, the Bills came out after that really tough first drive where I think Troy Franklin burned them on a deep route to take the opening touchdown. But the Bills came back and really slammed the door shut on Bo Nix. And it was because Bo Nix is a rookie quarterback and Sean does really well against rookie quarterbacks. But Bo Nix isn't a rookie anymore. And what a flip this has been. Because I remember that defensive front for the Broncos was fierce. And you talk about defensive fronts, I think of like Houston, who's going to play tonight against Pittsburgh, who the Bills could see down the road if they make the AFC Championship game. That is where I get a little bit of concern too, is like if that defensive front has the juice that I think it does and plays anything like Houston did against Buffalo, that could be a cause for concern, especially with just Josh's health. You don't know. I mean, he's banged up. Josh is, I think I said this on last week's podcast, but folks, Josh Allen's the Monty Python theme or meme where he's just like, he's battling the night and his limbs just keep getting cut off. It's like, you must surrender, sir. And he's like, I will not secede. Like that's literally Josh Allen. Like he's literally gonna have to lose limbs at this point to not play in a game. So that will be a fun one to watch. Bill, playoff videos. First off, does the mentality, let me ask you a big J media question. Does the mentality change when a Brother Bill video drops for the playoffs? Does the attention to detail or anything like that? Or, hey, do you just approach it one video at a time?
I think it becomes more like the goal is in mind, right? Like there's like now it feels like there's like a quest we're on. So
Right.
it has a little bit more of like a cinematic storyline almost vibe to it, where it's like, okay, like this is happening. We have a path to what we've been working for all year. But sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it's just you got to do what you got to do. Like now I have a short week. Saturday is usually my filming day, so I got the short straw this week. I was praying for a Sunday game, and of course we got the Saturday, which is not ideal, but we'll figure it out. I already had some brainstorming going on, but that's the hard part too, because I got a storyboard for like 3 different opponents until things start really shaking out and I start finding out who we're playing and all that.
Right.
So yeah, after I'm done here, I'm definitely gonna get on it because I'm gonna have to be filming before work every morning this week to try to get this right and figure this all out.
The life of a content creator that nobody sees here is that, Bill's a full-time barber, an established barber that runs his own business with a wife and a dog and a life of his own.
Yeah.
Here he is still finding the time, mornings before cuts, right before your boy gets that nice clean skin fade. Just know brother Bill is out there probably he'll be on a horse some way, somehow. Maybe this week he is riding a white horse to the tune of Chris Stapleton, gallivanting through whichever part of Rochester you live, just the streets of Rochester, wherever you are. Just know that Bill is out there taking care of business for you guys. Do you want to take us through this week's video? And I will say, your Trevor Lawrence actor. if Trevor Lawrence and Mike McDaniel had a baby, there's your guy. That I was to say, first off, I laughed so hard when I saw him with the grill in his mouth was spectacular. So Bill, take us through this week's video.
So that grill, I ordered the grill when we played Houston this year, and I was thinking, obviously that's like a big Paul Wall, all those guys.
Oh yeah.
And luckily I just never used it. I ran out of time and I was like, whatever. And Trevor Lawrence obviously does his grill thing, so just kind of fell nicely together. But yeah, I have the double Josh Allen jersey, which is a prized possession of mine. I think it's hilarious, and I always love when I could pull that back out. So I kind of started there. I think dude, Jacksonville's a tough place because it's really no culture that I don't think of a food when I hear Jacksonville. I don't think of like something iconic, like scenic thing or like a park, or like there's nothing to Jacksonville that I think that I like comes to mind without like maybe a deep dive. I could figure something out, but like I'm also trying to find something that people will understand too. So I went with the only things I know, which was Trevor Lawrence wears a grill. I went with the classic motor scooter lady that I love that video so much. So I had to go to that. And then what else did I do? I can't even think. Trevor Lawrence. Oh, Saxonville. Like that was another one that just kind of low hanging fruit.
Saxonville. You in the corner on the scooter, like the dramatic like pause.
It was like the Dark Knight when he's sitting in the jail cell just clapping. Yeah, dude. So shout out to one of my clients. This is the good thing. Like being a barber is so clutch because I have so many people who either know someone or do something that I need at all times. So like I was at my grandma's on Monday. We were doing like a family dinner and they were asking like what I'm going to do. I was like, I think I need to find like a medical scooter because like I want to do something with the Jacksonville Jaguar lady. And like everyone's like, where are you gonna get a medical scooter? I'm trying to think of like trying to know someone who's like grandpa, like, hey, can I borrow your medical? Like that seems a little rude, I feel like, to take it away from like someone who actually needs it. Yeah. But I had a client.
I'll have this back to you in a couple hours. Just kind of hang out in your chair and I'll be back soon with this.
I remember one of my clients telling me that his dad, I think he does like he puts them together or he like repairs them.
Okay.
So I texted him. I'm like, hey, am I remembering this correctly? Or did like you tell me that your dad like builds medical like scooters? And he's like, no, yeah, he like puts them together and delivers them to people. And I was like, is there any way I can like borrow one for like 3 hours on Saturday? And the dude was like, I think his dad asked at first, like, what is this for? And he introduced him to my page. He had never seen it. and he was like super down after that. So
Oh yeah.
picked it up Saturday morning. We did a quick scene with it. I was a little nervous because it was also like heavy dialogue, which I'm not usually, you know what I mean? My videos are usually pretty like silent film.
You are.
Style.
You really evolved from like doing like more of those like Charlie Chaplin back in the day, just very silent. And all of a sudden now, I was watching the Golden Globes and I kind of was thinking to myself, where's
Dude,
Bill in
give me a
this?
shot. Right. So we did the whole, I was thinking like, well, so the idea too was like, I'm used to the same opponents, like every playoff. It's like Chiefs, Ravens.
Right.
So I've built like a cinematic universe against those guys. So it actually becomes almost easier because I have like previous.
You're just building on the story, you know?
Yes, but now it's all new. So that was the idea of like he has this like a police rundown of like, hey, we don't really know these guys because we haven't played them, but like James Cook, Josh Allen, but like this guy, like you don't know him, and that was the idea of that is because like obviously the Chiefs know me, Ravens fans, like all that stuff. So that was the idea, and then I just went with like Saxonville. I thought that was funny to like teabag the dude or whatever. That vision was Home Alone with the tarantula. Like that's what I was thinking. Like, I got him, and he pulls the tarantula out and and puts it on his face.
You did. The only thing I was watching that one, I really was hoping that the guy that you were doing that to, which is a very, very good actor and somebody that probably you owe one to for letting him do that one to you. But I was really hoping I'd get like the real like Marv scream from Home Alone then, like, just, like the absolute shriek. Yeah, that would have just sent me even more. But no, that was good. I understand. I get what you mean though, because like Jacksonville is one of those things where it's not like a, like I always say, like Cincinnati, you punt the skyline, or like you punt the barbecue, the whole barbecue story for Kansas City, and like Baltimore, you have crabs, or something like that, like the food item, the culture thing. I always think like Florida, but you probably, because you have Miami and when you play Tampa Bay too, like you lean into like a Florida man thing, but like that also applies to the other teams in the state of Florida. So it's like, how do you keep using that over again? But it was good. I had a good hearty laugh. Very, very funny. Broncos coming up too. Is there any tease ahead or just any early ideas that you can give us right now?
Just, I'm going through my notes trying to, I got one big scene idea already. I don't want to give anything away, but I do have a big idea. It's going to take some engineering, I think, but as soon as we're done here, I'm probably going to get over to my parents' garage and start trying to like craft something. But I got that idea written out. And then there's just a few that'll be the main point, I think. So I just have to do a little fillers in the beginning to like get to that point and get my shots in. But I think we got a good idea.
Hell yeah, dude. Can't wait. We'll look forward to it. So that'll come out. So we're going to release that. That's going to be a weird one. You got to release it Saturday, essentially. Saturday morning. So no rest for the weary here, Bill. No. We all got to work. It's all a short week for us here in Buffalo. So any final thoughts to close out before we wrap this one up, Bill?
Just survive in advance, like we've been saying. I feel pretty confident after the Jaguars. Like I really thought that was a good team and we looked good and we top defense and our offense was, moving the ball on them consistently, which is something we haven't seen this year a lot, through the air at least. So that was cool. Just, take it a week at a time. And at the end of the day, like Josh Allen is Josh Allen, and that's who we have to put all our trust in. And that's a good thing to put your trust in. Like I feel confident in that. So we'll see the rest of the way, but I feel pretty good.
Josh Allen came into the playoffs yesterday among the NFL leader in terms of playoff, like in passer ratings, touchdown to interception ratio, total touchdowns in NFL playoff history. So like Bill said, it's a good guy to put your trust into because he's proven it in those big moments time and time again. Also, it should just be noted too, for those who just were unaware, just to kind of re-solidify this. So the Patriots beat the Chargers last night. So that Jets game was officially the final game at Highmark Stadium. So it got the proper send-off it wanted, like we talked about last week, which I'm happy with. But yeah, the Bills will have to go 2 more road games to get to Santa Clara, and that starts with another tough one Saturday in the AFC Divisional round against the Denver Broncos. We will be back next weekend to talk about that one. But for Brother Bill, I'm Dom Tibbetts. This has been the Leading the Charge podcast. Thank you as always for tuning in. Till next time. See you later.